planet. I'm not even kidding. I am now able to go live with all of you beautiful people that need help in regard to dementia. I am on a mission to help people all over the planet that need help navigating the caregiving journey with their loved one who has dementia. I went through it. I was completely lost. I was completely confused. And I literally had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And it was one of the most difficult, like excruciatingly difficult journeys I've ever had in my entire life. But I know why I went through it. It's to help millions of people. Like, that's my goal, is to help millions of people just feel better about caring for their loved one. And really, I would love to actually help teach and train people to do certain things to never even have to worry about getting dementia. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I'm super excited. I am going to be answering all of your questions about dementia. Okay. So if anyone has any questions, let me know down in the comments. But just to give you a quick little background, my grandmother had dementia for, I mean, I would say it was a total of like 12 to 13 years when she got diagnosed. So it was a pretty slow decline, but once it really got going with the decline, with the rapid pace of her dementia, the last 2 to 3 years, I mean, it was like boom, boom, boom. You can really see the decline in her cognitive abilities. So when someone gets diagnosed with dementia, at least this was my experience, and when I have discussed this on my other Instagram, and it's only about caregiving, I literally was like, I didn't receive any resources. Like, there was nothing that said, hey, by the way, this is what happens when your loved one gets dementia, and we are going to help you with this journey, and you need to sign up with this program, and you need to get with this group, and all of that, right? So my grandmother didn't receive any of that. She literally just received the diagnosis, and they were like, okay, cool. Well, here's her donepezil, here's her Namenda, because those are the two medications that they prescribe to people with dementia. And so that's what happened. They just prescribed her those two medications. They're like, okay, see you at your next appointment. And I'm like, okay, I understand that older people like start to forget things more, but this was another ball game. Like, it was like, and it's like, I think the easiest way for people to describe it is like it's almost like having a child again in an adult body, but that's really the incorrect way to actually describe it, but that's just the closest way to describe it. So I get it, because I used to say that. And then I just was like, you know what? It really isn't like having a child, because a child, they don't know much, obviously, as a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, but then they progressively learn, right? Well, in this case, they start to revert back. So they're going back and forth, but ultimately they're declining. So if you don't have the knowledge, you're just confused as to what's going on. Yeah, you think that they're going to forget some things here and there, but what you actually have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, it's bad. My granny had dementia, and she stopped remembering who I was. It broke me as a teenager because I didn't understand exactly. TZ, Frank, this is why I started this channel. I started this channel for people just like you and me that were just confused, and we're like, what is happening? Like, and it's just kind of what I think is interesting. Let me know what you guys think. But what I think is interesting is that people kind of just like don't talk about it. It's like, oh, you got to keep it on the hush hush. You know, don't really tell anybody about it. It's just kind of like our journey as a family. And it's kind of like that on a macro level too. Like, you just don't really hear a lot of people talking about it. But now I believe since like Bruce Willis got it. Who else? The one that has the show, How You Doing? She has dementia. And so there's just, now people are like, okay, well, what is it again? Or like, how does it work? Right. And so that's why I have this channel. So I'm going to be going through like very structured, like, okay, so 6 steps to this, 5 reasons for this. This is how you can tell this. Because I was her full-time caregiver for 6 years straight. I was her part-time caregiver for 2 years at first because she didn't need my care as much. And then it turned into 6 years, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. No idea. Thank you, Ciana. Love learning and just vibing with you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate, and all of you guys that subscribe just to support this journey. And you know, if some of you guys just subscribed just because I asked, you have no idea. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. Like, I really appreciate it, like from my heart. And you really don't have to watch the channel if it's not something that you know, really, if it's information that you don't necessarily need, but you're more than welcome to watch the channel if you do need the information or if somebody needs this information. So I ended up getting in contact with, I mean, look how skinny she got. I had no idea, like the eating, right? And I actually got approved to Wendy Williams. Yeah, Wendy, I don't know why I like didn't really watch her show that much. So, but yeah, Wendy Williams. Exactly. So I didn't know like these things would start to happen, like her losing rapid amounts of weight. And again, I did get approved from my family to share this journey because we do believe that, you know, her pain, it can be other, you know, is our testimony and it can help millions of people. And it has, like, some of the DMs that I got on my Instagram are just heartbreaking with how much they just feel alone. They don't feel seen. They just don't know where to start. And then it's like your loved one is rapidly declining, but like you're still treating them like they're functioning normally, but they're not. And so if you don't know that, you're going to be doing and saying things that are the complete wrong way to be handling these loved ones that need our help, right? So that is why I documented my journey. And it's purely, I mean, this is when she was a couple months out, I believe. It was 7 days away and she was reaching out. And I didn't know this really either, but that's a common thing that people do when they're about to transition. They start like having, they say hallucinations. I think it's angels personally, but I think that she's seeing beyond the veil. So, and as you can see, I'm like doing a water bottle over her face and she's just like not even seeing it. I actually believe, because I didn't know this either, but because she would still like look, but she kind of would look past you. And the hospice nurse actually said that she actually went blind, like she couldn't see anymore. And so, you know, I'm just thinking like how scary must that, I don't know. She didn't really have emotion about that. She couldn't communicate anymore. Her last year to year and a half, she was nonverbal. So if she was going blind, I just think like, wow, like, was she scared? You know, was she scared when she was in this state of mind where it's like, okay, I don't know who's coming into the room to take care of me. You know, I don't really remember anybody. I can't communicate. I can't say, hey, who is it? Like, it just is such a scary situation. So I'm happy that me and my mom were able to be there for her times a million and just really hold her hand on this journey to transitioning, right? So I'm here to help, right? So if there's ever any questions, this page is just going to be, it's not going to be a combination of my personal life and fitness and health. Like, I have my other page for that. If anyone is ever interested in that, I'll always have the link to that other page. But this is purely just to serve you as a caregiver, either going through someone with dementia, you know someone else that needs, you know, that needs resources. What I did was I got with the Alzheimer's organization. If you just literally Google Alzheimer's organization contact number, you'll be able to call them. You'll get with a representative and they'll be able to get you hooked up with a group where you can exchange. You literally get on a Zoom call and you go through the different stages together. And then you literally learn, you go through a training course, which the doctor never told me this. The doctor only, thank you so much, BHDQZ. Yeah, thank you so much. The doctor only just said, okay, well, here's the medication and pretty much like good riddance, you know? And so I had to Google all this stuff on my own. I mean, me and my mom, like my mom, bless her soul, she was on the verge of having an anxiety breakdown like every day. And that's why I don't want to call it like I put my life on hold, but like I just shifted 100% of my focus on my grandma and my mom. And I designed my life around that. Right. So then people are like, oh, you know, you're single, you know, did you just like put your life on hold for that? Or, you know, did you, and I might do a whole video just on that alone. But I just think when you are caring for somebody on this level, it's just very difficult, right? So I'm so blessed, and I now see, looking back, why God had me go through this journey with my grandma. So it's because I'm going to be of service to you guys, right? And I had to do a lot of self-teaching, self-coaching, because there's just, you, I mean, maybe there is now, because what happened is when I started going live, when I started posting, other people were posting too, kind of like wanting to find a tribe, like a caregiver tribe. And so we all kind of started to find each other through hashtags, and just like the algorithm kind of piecing us together. And this is common. I had no idea. I thought maybe I just was the lost one. Like, is there a program that I was supposed to get handed? And like, I just missed the memo. People were like, no, this is exactly what I'm going through. Hey, Hallie. So people were like, this is exactly what I'm going through. I'm lost. I'm confused. I'm in pain. I'm confused on what to do with my grandma, or my parent, or my grandpa, or my uncle, or my aunt. I'm also like struggling, because when you're dealing with people, like I have so many. Oh, she used to always grab my foot all the time. I thought it was cute that she'd always do that. But um I always thought that, this is when me and my mom would have to like give her massages and stuff like that. So I always thought that, I don't know. I just was confused. Like, I just was so lost in the sauce. And so that's why it's just a burning passion, a burning desire to share this journey, and just really, really dive deep with you guys, and just let you guys know you're not alone. And I don't know, I may come out with something structured in the future, like, I don't know, like a course or something in the far future. I don't have any desire to do that right now, but my plan is just to really go on live with you guys and just answer questions, and then have it in different playlists, so that way you can say, okay, well, this playlist is about the middle stage dementia. This is about early stage dementia. This is about late stage dementia. I didn't even know there were stages. I had no idea there were stages. My mother had dementia as well. Wow. Bless her soul. Bless your soul. You are not selfish. That's why I appreciate it. So it's like, I didn't even know there were stages. So when she was in the middle part, she almost sent me to jail. Like, that's how crazy. I have a story about that on my other page. But literally, my grandma almost sent me to jail, because she literally escaped when I was watching her. She escaped. And it was funny, because she kind of like tricked me. She ran out of the door, and then, we have neighbors. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want the neighbors to like see me trying to get her back in the house. And so I just was like, okay, maybe she just wants to walk around for a little bit, and then I'll be, she'll kind of, it's hot outside. I live in LA. We live in LA. So it's hot outside. Like, maybe she'll want to turn around. Nope. She started walking to the 50-mile-an-hour street. So I was trying to like hold her back. And my grandma is 6 feet tall, 5'11", 6 feet tall. I'm 5'7". So this is when she was really strong still. So I was like, Grandma, no. And then she was like pushing me, and it was just crazy. So somebody, thank God, I don't know who it was, some angel that drove by and was like, I don't know who it was, but the police just pulled up. And the first thing she says is, she's hitting me. She's abusing me. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to get her to not walk in the street, because she kept trying to walk across the 50-mile-an-hour street. It was so bad. And then, they kind of were looking at me a little bit, but then they kind of could tell, like, okay, she's bigger than, like, you're bigger than her. And like, you are trying to walk in the street, and there's no crosswalk. And then I was like, she has dementia. Like, and so then they completely changed their whole demeanor. But yeah, and they were like, yeah, somebody saw that there was like a back and forth issue happening on the street. And so they called, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is wild. Right. So, it's a very vulnerable journey. And it is kind of like, I used to kind of think like, should I even be putting this out here? But I was so lost. I was like, even if I help one human being, literally, because me and my mom were on the verge of losing it. Excuse me, on the literal verge of losing it. But I was like, okay, if I can help one human being get through this journey easily, like more easier, then it was worth it, right? It was worth it. So just be in tune. This was kind of a, hey, I can go live now. Thank you again to everybody that decided to support the channel and just subscribe, just so I can get to the 50 subscribers so I can start to go live, because I want to answer live questions. And then my plan is for it to be more structured, like, okay, so these are the 3 things, so just be prepared for that. But does anyone have any questions, or is there anything that you would actually want to know, or that you are lost on or confused? Because I do have an entire manual. I have a ton of resources now. I have other social media sites that I can send you to. So I'll do a video on all that, but is there anything that you guys need right now? I know that because I'm in this vertical mode, there's kind of just different people popping in and saying hi, but there may be some of you that might have some dementia questions. So, and on this channel, I will not be tolerating 1% of any kind of troll. Like, it's like, if there's even an inkling of feeling, it's just like, it's blocked. So just want to throw that out there. I really want to protect this community. When my granny had dementia, there was no Google. So we were all, oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. TZ Frank, I didn't even think about that. That's so true. Like, what do you like? And then it's like, what I felt like was weird was that it was kind of this energy of like, are we allowed to like ask people, like ask the community? It was almost like you got to keep it on the low. It's just like what you and your family are going through. But then not knowing that there's several other people in the neighborhood going through it. And this is what's sad. It's dementia and Alzheimer's is on the rise, and it's actually preventable. There is tons of studies now showing that it's actually preventable. And so I don't want people thinking that they're just going to go down, oh, well, that's just how it's going to be for me, or that's just how it's going to be for my mom. So it's all in God's hands at the end of the day, right? Like, we're all going to exit the planet at some point in some way, shape, or form. But it doesn't have to be like this. Like, my grandmother, bless her soul, the funniest, wittiest, like, this was her when she's healthy. So super pretty, super, super healthy, super, like, she was the life of the party. Like, everybody was like, this is my grandfather as well. So everybody gravitated toward her. She never had to ask for friends. If anything, she had to like, she was always booked all the time from being everybody's friend, right? So she, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, it just felt like there was this energy back then of like, you can't tell anybody, but I'm like, why aren't we talk about cancer? Like, we talk about when people have lupus, or we talk about when people have like these different diseases and different, rare conditions. Like, why don't we really talk about dementia? So, and a doctor really should say, hey, your loved one has dementia. It's going to be a crazy bumpy road. This is what you need to do. You need to get with Alzheimer's, or like, here's a whole booklet on, okay, day 1 as a caregiver of somebody with dementia. This is what you do. I wish somebody did that for me. I really do. Hallie, you helped us, sis. My grandma loves her baby doll, and it's giving her something to focus on and love on throughout the day. She talks to it and recites scriptures too. I love that. That just touches my soul. More than you know, Hallie, that touches my soul. Just so you guys know what, and you're curious, like, what do you mean baby doll? What does Hallie mean by baby doll? Let me see if I can find one. Okay, right here. So this is my grandma. I actually had to research this myself. Again, I wish that, a doctor would have been like, hey, get with this caregiver, whatever. It is what it is. But, you can still see I'm a little bothered by it. I know we do look alike, right? So I ended up coming across, oh, you know what? No. What happened was on my Instagram, I was sharing the journey, and somebody reached out to me and said, hey, why don't you get your grandmother a baby doll? And I was like, for what? And they're like, oh, there's like something, and I actually want to study up on this. Like, there's something about dementia, someone going through dementia and babies that is very soothing. It's very calming. I don't know if it's like the primitive brain just never goes away up until we pass, but there's just something that they don't lose. Like, there's still that connection there for some reason. So I was like, well, it doesn't hurt to try, right? So this and sensory. So we would give her this, and we would also give her the baby doll, and then we also gave her these sensory pillows. So the sensory pillow, she would just like work on that for hours. So she would like do the zipper, do the button. Do I have videos of her using it? It's different colors, and it kind of just keeps her attention the whole time. Like it helps with her agitation, and it kept her fingers busier. So though between those two things, the this and the baby doll, it would like it just helped, like even with me and my mom, like we'd be able to kind of take a 15-minute break for a second, decompress. There was days I didn't eat. There was days I couldn't eat because I was just so busy like tending to her. So it would, those little things really, really helped. Her and me and my mom as a caregiver. Because we got to take care of ourselves as the caregiver. I didn't do that. I stuffed myself with sugar. I coped with sugar, and I ended up developing a really bad sugar addiction because I would reward myself, but that's not the way to be handling anything with the, I would be like, oh, well, I'm not using drugs or alcohol as a coping mechanism, but it was bad. I was like, literally had a sugar addiction. The doctor just made it seem like a death sentence. Yes. The doctor just made it seem like a death sentence and put her on hospice care. And the sad part is that it will eventually bring them to the sentencing, right? But it's like, what are the resources along the way? Can we prolong it from coming on so quickly? How do we make this transition easy? Like we completely restructured my grandmother's room. Like one week, I just took an entire week out. I gutted out her bedroom by myself because my mom was working full time and getting her master's in accounting. So I gutted out her entire room. I gutted out her bathroom, and I made it into like a handicap environment. But like nobody told me to do that. So it's like my grandma was in an environment where like she was in a normal environment, but like being in a normal environment was not working for her her cognitive abilities. It was making it worse. So it's like, okay, yeah, go on hospice. The nurse will come and give the medication. And when the when the time actually comes, we're going to put her on morphine and she's going to pass away. Like that is pretty much what my doctor told me and my mom. My uncle has dementia, and it's so sad. Is he in a facility, or is there anyone of a family member caring for him? Do you think the major reason people get dementia because of food? So from my research, I literally like love this stuff. Based on my research, it's basically considered type 3 diabetes. So there's basically a lot of plaque buildup happening in the brain, and it's all these tiny decisions that kind of are adding up to the plaque buildup, right? So we're thinking, because my grandmother, she drank beer every day for her entire life, literally. And when back in the 50s and 60s, like they were allowed to smoke cigarettes and like drink beer and stuff, like really young. Not legally, I don't think they're drinking beer, but it was like they were doing that. So she drank beer and smoked cigarettes for many, many years. She ate pork rinds every day. I never saw my grandmother ever drink, like even discuss health. Like I never heard the word healthy come out of her mouth. But my grandmother did take a lot of vitamins, which was interesting, which I think is why it even got her to live till 81. And her dementia actually, the doctor had told us that she was going to pass away like 3 years prior. Than he was like, yeah, she only has 6 months, but she ended up living like 2.5, 3 years after that because of the stuff that we were doing. So we were giving turmeric, coconut oil. Coconut oil has MCTs in it, and the MCTs does something to the brain, right? The turmeric does something to the brain, helps the inflammation go down. So yeah, like it's definitely hugely related to food, like on a major level. And I think if you think about it, dementia is rising, which is just devastating to know that it's rising, but so is obesity, right? So it's almost like it just ends up being the third stage. And then you have someone like Bruce Willis, who's only in his 60s, late 60s, who has dementia. So it's like, it seems like what's scary about dementia is that not only is it becoming more common, but it's also getting young, like people are getting it younger. So we have to get in front of our food. My dad took my baby nephew. My dad took my baby nephew and my uncle to the park watching the 85-year-old play with, oh, I love that. I love that. Getting out in nature, it's so good for everybody, right? Just to feel the sun, see the trees, look at the flowers, like maybe eat some snacks, have a tea with you, and just be in that like naturey energy. Oh, that is like a beautiful way to handle it. I would do that in my grandmother's earlier stages. She loved to go to like the Dollar Tree, Big Lots, Goodwill, like all those like, discount stores. And she just used to love just do treasure hunting all the time. So that was kind of like her thing. And she would have never wanted to go to a park or like hike or none of that. So I get on my mom about that stuff now. I'm like, you need to move your body. We need to lose the weight. We got, we got to get you on the green juices. We got to da, 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 da. So my mom has lost 40 pounds, so my mom's doing everything opposite of my grandma, which is a blessing, but yeah. Oh, Hallie, I'm going to actually put you as a moderator on here too. Oh, wait. Oh, you are a moderator on here. That's cool. It just like, it just transferred over. Okay. I have heard a tablespoon of olive oil is good. Yep. Really, really high quality olive oil, coconut oil are amazing. Or you can just get the MCT oil. And then we should all be taking that too, by the way. Like, yes, caregivers were number one priority is the person going through dementia. But we have to make sure that we are doing what we got to do so that way that doesn't end up being our way of exiting the planet, and or it prolongs that from happening. But if you have an active lifestyle, like they've proven this over and over in so many studies, active lifestyle, fresh greens, fresh juicing, fruit, eating clean. If you're going to eat meat, clean meat, legumes and nuts and berries and all that also will prolong it. But you got to do both of them consistently. And they've even had it where if you catch it early enough, you can actually reverse dementia. But that's like kind of, that's allegedly, I just want to say that because there's like a lot of pushback. There's like a 50-50. It seems like 50% of people believe it and 50% of people don't. And they go at it all the time, even though there's a lot of studies that have shown that people have reversed dementia, like people that have like a holistic lifestyle or really just had the funds to be able to hire somebody holistically that specialized in that. But it's like, not all of us have access to those kind of resources. But there's even talk about it being reversible too, if you catch it early enough. So that's why I'm just so passionate about talking about this. How do you really know somebody has dementia? So what happened with my grandma was that she just all of a sudden started to get really agitated. And my grandmother was she was feisty anyway. So that wasn't a huge indicator, but later on we're like, oh yeah, she did kind of like have an uptick of being really feisty and really aggravated. So change in emotion, right? Obviously being very forgetful, but forgetful of very odd things. Like what they did was, in order to show that if somebody had dementia, they had my grandma look at a clock, and it was just like a circle on a piece of paper, and she had to draw the numbers on the clock in the right direction and the right order. And my grandma looked at it and literally didn't know, like she had no idea. My grandmother's an artist, by the way. She was very like excellent with being able to use a pen and all that. So like she didn't know how to do 1 or 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like she had no idea. So, but what got us to even get her to take the test was she would just forget about birthdays on a major level. She would forget what year it was on a major level. She would be in mid-sentence and completely just forget. She would completely forget words, but abnormal, right? Like we all are kind of like, what's that person's name again? Where did I leave my keys at? Like not simple things like that. It was like where it's like, how do you not know how to go? How do you not know where Big Lots is? Like we've been driving to this Big Lots for the last 10 years and you don't know where, like you don't know that we just turned right down this street. So it's those things that were like oddly weird that she was forgetting. And then we're like, maybe we should actually take her in. And she ended up and she was already, I think, in the earlier part of the middle stages. So we didn't catch it early. And then now it's crazy because when we look back, we're like, dang, if we would have caught it earlier. So that's why, you know, that's why I have this channel as well, right? But now when we look back and we look at like different video footage of her and her just kind of looking lost in some of the video, but she wasn't diagnosed with dementia yet. We're like, we can tell she had it then, right? And then they don't really know. Like, they're just think that they're getting older, so this is what old people do. They just start forgetting stuff, you know? So we all kind of just thought it was that, but it was just on a whole nother level. And if we would have known earlier, we could have gotten her the proper care way before, you know, the decline. Let's see. Yeah, I hear it's possible from insulin resistance. Yep, and insulin resistance is diabetes. Younger people are getting it too. Yeah, there's a lady that I follow. She's in her 50s and her whole on TikTok. Let me actually show you guys her. And that's when I just was like, okay, like we got to get in front of this. Like, I don't know. I mean, I love that people are just getting online and kind of showing the vulnerable like aspect of this, because it's not a pretty sight. Like, it's a very difficult sight to see and sight to endure. But this lady, actually, she's documenting her whole journey, and she is able to remember things during this stage right now, but she wants to document basically her whole decline. So let's see. She doesn't say her age, but from what I remember, she's like in her 50s. But yeah, she literally shows her diagnosis and all of that. Like with her brain and stuff, she shows like how, like basically the CT scan was showing as far as how the brain was like shrinking in certain areas and like the color was changing. But this is the lady. And so you would look at her and not know that she has dementia, but she had her whole entire page. So we've been following each other. She started following me first, actually, because I was posting my stuff with my grandma. So I think it was like 4 years ago. Yeah, it was like 4 years ago at this point. So oh wow, that's funny. I clicked on this. It says dementia is type 3 diabetes, and so she's basically explaining what she knows about that. So again, a lot of this stuff is anecdotal. Like, it's not like we officially are saying it is type 3 diabetes. It's like you have to kind of say anecdotal, you have to say allegedly, you know, but it just keeps the trend is just too, it's too consistent, right? That typically people with the diabetes are, you know, getting the dementia. Ciana, I love you. Oh, thank you. Please don't spam us with your love bombing. Thank you, Allie. Sorry, I'm talking and not even seeing all this. Okay, am I on the wrong channel?